Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
So good to be back.
Unfiltered. The real deal. No pre-planning. No chingaderas. Straight up from the bill.
Wacky Wednesday.
B-Town's very own.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Here's your host, Bumper Gomez.
Yo, what's going down, Facebook? Welcome. Sorry for the late start this evening. We're having some technical difficulties. My internet does not want to act right. I don't know what the heck's going on. So hopefully you guys are we're coming in clear and you can hear us. Welcome to another edition of Wacky Wednesday. Tonight's going to be super, super cool. I'm back to having a live guest. I think, I guess people want to see us, huh? But no, man, tonight's going to be super cool. I have, well, he's been a friend of mine on Facebook for quite some time. But just, I'm going to call him Mike. And that'll work, right? Yeah. And it's gonna be pretty cool. This is the first time that we're gonna do. I'm gonna put my phone number out on Facebook, and if you have any questions, me and Mike we've talked before the show started, and he's open to any questions that you have. As long as you're being respectful and you're not getting carried away. Speaking of carried away, did you get to watch any of that?
I saw bits and pieces of it. I was on duty last night while the debate was going on, but when I had a chance to tune in a little bit, I did. And, wow.
Yeah, that's the three letter word that I think all of America last night was saying was wow. But yeah, man. So tonight it's gonna be super cool. I'm glad that you guys are joining me again once again on another Wednesday. To all my regulars that tune in, I appreciate it. 2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks ago, right? About 2 weeks ago when we reached out to each other. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, and Mike hits me up. He's like, "Hey, bro, you have like a podcast?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we have like a live." He's like, "You ever had a cop?"
That's pretty much how that went.
Yeah. So and it was pretty cool because I was like, you know what, dude, I haven't, bro, but here's the catch. And you're like, oh man, here's. My brother's already asking, bro, if he can get rid of some old speeding tickets.
Hey, you know what, man? Like, if this was a few years ago, I might be able to help you, but nowadays can't do it, man.
Oh man, but no, man. Yeah, so we were talking to one another, and I kind of said, if I could have a police officer. I really wouldn't want somebody who's gonna come and be like, well, that's a great question, but I can't answer that. That's a great question, but I can't answer that. So, Mike said, hey, bro, no question will be unanswered or untouched. So, with that being said, I was just like, wow, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want people to be able to call and just, whatever questions that you've ever had that you can't just, if you're too embarrassed to walk up and tap a cop on the shoulder and be like, hey, bro, if I get caught with this or that, what's going to happen to me? Or whatever the case may be. But
as Bumper's saying, any question, if you guys have it, ask it. One of the reasons why I was so excited to do this is because there's not enough of us speaking. With everything that's going on across the nation, here in Texas, Baltimore, Wisconsin, so forth and so on, Los Angeles, there's not enough good guys speaking. There's not enough good cops speaking because we're either one, told not to speak, or two, we're afraid to speak in fear of backlash or retaliation. So for tonight, I don't have a problem doing this. I'm not going to disclose where I work. I am a peace officer here in the state of Texas. I've been one for quite some time. Started my career in California as a police officer. I've done some things, been some places, and I think there is no better venue than this to let the community ask me the questions they want to ask me, get my opinion unedited about what's going on, and let them hear it from someone who works the streets, not some public affairs officer or not some chief of police or something like that. So that was why I was excited to come and do this, because this needs to be done, and it's not. So this was, I jumped on this.
And ladies and gents, I totally agree with what he said. Sometimes when you see the news or you hear the police chief, wherever you might live, wherever you might be in the United States, you hear the police chief, and it's just kind of the right thing to say at the right time, and they're not gonna pull any punches, or they're gonna just tell you the bare minimum. And I'm gonna take questions from the chat here in a few minutes. I'll put my phone number up there if you guys want to call in. We have that capability now, where Wacky Wednesday's moving up, man. So we have the capability of you actually calling in and getting on the air and actually speaking with my buddy Mike here. Mike, also, throughout the show, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit, I think America needs this, bro. Just like what you said, you know what I mean? I think America needs to hear from their police officers. We watch the news, you watch the news, it's mainstream media. It's always, white cop, black guy getting beat up, getting killed. It's always a race thing. It's always, cop, bad guy. But we kind of now, besides cops, bro, besides live PD, we really don't get an insight of what actually goes through the mind of a police officer. And that's kind of like the conversation that me and you were having the other night, was like, I really want to pick your brain on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, live PD is good of a show and entertaining of a show that is. It's still a show. You're putting a camera in a cop's face. They're not going to be the person they usually are when that camera's not on them. And that goes for any law enforcement entity where you have the media essentially following them around. A little did you know, the show Cops, the reason why they stopped filming in Los Angeles, LAPD, LA County Sheriffs, is because people were using that footage to sue the police. And so in order to avoid stuff like that, LAPD, LA County Sheriff stopped having cops film with them. That's why Cops has never been back there. And so now, fast forward to today, where you have shows like Live PD, you're not going to get how cops really are while they're on camera, because it is the media following them around. And I hope to kind of help cure some of that for some people tonight with this interview. Okay.
That's a great way of putting things. I'm going to go straight to the chat board already.
Let's do it.
The first question was with everything going on right now, Black Lives Matter, the riots, being Hispanic, what are you, and if you don't mind me asking, what is your nationality, or what is your?
I am
your
black and Puerto Rican. My dad's black. My mom's Puerto Rican. My dad, born and raised in Los Angeles. I was born in Long Beach, raised in Los Angeles. My dad was a Marine. My mom was in the Navy. That's how they met up. But I've been in a minority family. That's that's how I grew up.
Okay.
Rough and tough, like most of us.
I hear you. I'm gonna move this just a little bit right here, because people are saying they can't hear you. So the question goes, as a cop, what does, when you see BLM, Black Lives Matter, that's a huge topic nationally right now. That was part of the debate last night. We see it every day. It's being painted on streets. It's and some people are for it and some are not. Let me get my take on it is when Black Lives Matter started, I was behind them, and this is my show. I'm straight up honest with people. I don't hide who I am. I was 100% behind them. It needed to be said. It's something our country, I think that our country needed. We need to bring that to light, and I think Black Lives Matter helped bring that to light. Now, once it's at light, some of the demands and some of the things, and some of my friends who are black, I mean, they agree with me wholeheartedly. I mean, they were getting carried away with some of these demands. Some of the demands were just ridiculous. So I'm kind of like halfway, and I understand the people who get angry with the All Lives Matter, but I don't think they really understand what Black Lives Matter is trying to say. That's my opinion. Everybody's what's your opinion, but back to you being a police officer. Mm-hmm. When you see the letters BLM, what does that signify to you, or what does it mean to you as a police officer?
Well, asking me that question now as opposed to a couple of years ago, you'll get two different answers. When BLM first started, how can you not support it? With all things being real, all things being how they are and out in the open, the black community has been neglected. You've had some cops doing some fucked up things and getting caught, and regardless of the outcome of whatever investigation took place, things didn't change, and the message that first started with BLM has now morphed into what it is today, and it's let's tear up our own community, let's murder people, let's burn our own stuff down, and it's reflective to me of the riots in Los Angeles. I was there for that, and something very similar. These cops got acquitted for doing what they did, and LA reacted. But, LA reacted in a way that they burnt down their own stuff, and it's happening again. People who don't study history are bound to repeat it. And that's what's happening. Like, the message that started isn't the message that's today. The message that started was let's treat everyone equally. Let's bring it together and try to work this out. Now, in my opinion, and right, wrong, and different, it's almost like hate speech. Where I work, I'm one of two black people, and I got death threats. And it's not a comfortable feeling. I haven't done anything to anybody, but the fact that I wear a uniform makes me a target. And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. Black Lives Matter, it absolutely does. And it's still supported. I still support it. What I don't support is the extremist end of that message, or that, whatever you want to call it. People have morphed it into something that was never supposed to be. And that's what I don't like about what's going on right now with BLM. It's turned violent, it's turned hateful, it's turned deadly in some cases. And it's just a very unfortunate turn of events. And so I still do support the message. I don't support the actions at this point.
That's a great answer. I mean, I again, tonight I really want to get I want to pick your brain. I want to get what goes through your head, but I also want to engage with the viewers. Another question was what are your thoughts on profiling? Let's see, what are Mike's thoughts on profiling motorcycle clubs? It seems to be a huge problem throughout Texas. This is my buddy Mike. He's in a motorcycle club, I think up north Texas. He was raised in California, and I know he likes riding bikes. And Mike, by the videos you post, I don't think you're doing riding bikes legally sometimes, bro. But what's your take on that? Do you think cops do profile bike clubs?
Absolutely. You know, cops profile bike clubs as they would another car club, as they would another gang-affiliated entity. It, I'm not saying all bike clubs are gang members because they're not. You know, I have friends that are in bike clubs as well. You know, and I guess it's kind of dependent upon where you work and your experiences with said bike club. Me personally, I really don't mess with them. If they're doing what they're supposed to do and they're not catching my attention, there's no reason to mess with them. You know, they're a human being like everyone else. And that's how they're going to be treated until it's time to deal with them professionally.
Yeah. I mean, me growing up, I always thought, like, you know, when you saw a bike gang, like it was automatically it was bad guys. You know what I mean? But now that I'm older and I have friends who ride bikes, you know, a lot of them just do it as a camaraderie, just another way of getting together, and guys who share a common interest in motorcycles. But I mean, we're not dumb. You know what I mean? I'm sure cops aren't. You know what I mean? Not all bike gangs are out doing what they're supposed to do. Let's see. Both sides of the issue are dealing with small percentage of crappy people that cause problems for both sides, when the large portion of these sides are good people. I think that's what needs to be said, bro. You know what I mean? There's so many good cops. They outweigh the bad cops.
Absolutely.
But you know, that one bad cop fucks it up for all of y'all.
You know, we're in a very high profile. And real quick, are you guys hearing me okay?
Yeah, let's. Hey, is he coming in better? I picked up his volume a little bit, so if y'all can give me some thumbs up that you can hear him pretty clearly.
I got a low monotone voice, and it's hard to hear sometimes. Then I got my little COVID mask on, so I apologize. I'll repeat your question, man. I'm sorry about that.
So he said both sides of the issue are dealing with small percentage of crappy people. You know, what I was trying to say is that, you know, the bad cops fuck it up for all the good cops.
Yes.
They really do. Like, you know, you could have 100 good cops that go out there every day and do what they're supposed to do, and you have the one bad cop that just does something stupid. Now all 100 of you are bad.
You know, and it's 100% correct. You know, we're in a very high profile profession. No matter what we do, where we do it, someone's always watching us. And unfortunately, you know, we're only noticed when we jack something up, or we hurt somebody, or, you know, we crash a car in a pursuit, or someone dies in our custody, or any number of some negative things that happen in the performance of our jobs. And it is what it is. It comes with the territory, basically. You know, you have to be ready to deal with it. You know, one of the things I have told people is that if you're doing what's right, you don't have to worry about being wrong. You know, cops are going to mess up. We are human beings. We go to a 6 or 7 month academy, and then we're given a gun and a badge, and we're told, go out there and protect the public. You know, and I had this conversation with you a couple weeks ago. In the United States, and y'all can fact check me on this one. As of 2019, there were 697,000 licensed peace officers in the United States. That's barely over 500,000 for a country our size. There's not a lot of us. You know, and doctors, medical doctors, there's almost 1 million as of 2018. More people want to go through 10 to 14 years of schooling to go be a doctor than have the responsibility of a police officer going through a 6-month academy. There's an awful lot expected of us, and not a whole lot of training to properly prepare us for what we're going to experience, because there's no training that can simulate what we're going to experience. And so the likelihood of us messing up is there, you know, and so training is a huge deal. Training is very important in what we do. And that kind of leads me into the whole defunding the police conversation, where departments are being defunded, and part of that defunding is training. Instead of giving us the money to put officers through this training, or hiring officers to take the workload and stress off of these guys who've been working these above average busy beats, we're taking money from them and stressing these cops out more. And now you're taking the training away from them, because training costs money. And so now the likelihood of these cops messing up is going to become higher. And it's unfortunate, and it's going to happen.
I and I'll be honest with you, man. Like I've seen videos. I watch the YouTube videos, and I see the TikToks, the little YouTube clips on Facebook, the video clips, and it drives me nuts, man. You know what I mean? I mean it and I'm gonna give you both ways, right? One thing that drives me nuts is the street lawyer. Right. Everybody's a street lawyer. I need your license and I don't have to give you shit. God dang, dude. The dude is just doing his job, bro. You know what I mean? Now, you pull over a guy because he's black. You pull over a guy because he's wearing a bandana. You pull over, somebody on a motorcycle because he's wearing red and yellow. All these different scenarios, right? It just blows my mind that why wouldn't you just do what the cop asked you to do? I think like 90% of the time you would defuse the situation by somebody just being nice to you, being courteous to you. Do you run into that every day to where you pull somebody over and it's like straight attitude from the minute you walk up to the vehicle?
Oh, frequently. And that's another part that comes with the job. You can have your attitude. You can be mad at me all you want. Comply with what I'm asking you, and we're both going to go home at the end of the night. And you can go be mad at home drinking a beer instead of mad in jail or mad hurt somewhere. Comply in the street, contest in court. It is a popular opinion that courts favor police officers. No. Courts are ran by attorneys. That judge used to be an attorney. Courts don't like us. So if you go to court, you have a pretty good possibility of either getting your fine taken away or having it brought down at least a little bit, depending on your situation. Contest in the street, and you're bound to have some stuff happen to you. You might go to jail. If you resist hard enough, you're probably going to get hurt. It is what it is. And I'm sorry, if you comply, yes, sir, no, sir. You don't even have to call me sir. Just hand me what I'm asking for, your license, your insurance, or whatever the case is. And again, we're both going home at the end of the stop. And that's what it is.
That's period, point blank, but again, it goes back to videos of, the guy is being nice. The guy is doing what he's supposed to do. Right. But the cop's still a dick. The cop is still pushing buttons that he shouldn't push. Your job is to serve and protect, and you want people to respect you, and I do. I teach my kids to respect police officers. It's going to kind of lead me to one of the comments that's down here. I think as Americans we've lost that, bro. I honestly, better training for sure needs to take place for law enforcement. We as civilians need to retrain our brains and our young about the family values. Family values covers an array of values from family to family, and I couldn't agree with that more, dude. Us as Mexicanos, Chicanos, it's true. In our society, we from the time we're little, hey, bro, if you don't behave, I'm calling the cops. We say it innocently, like we don't. But if you think about it, think about that mindset. Why do we say that? Why do we say, I'm going to call the cops? Why not say, hey, you know what? If you don't behave, I'm going to take my chancla off and whip your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why does it, or hey, here comes the cops. Here comes the cop. Chill out. Here comes the cops. If you're not doing nothing wrong, why do you have to chill out?
Absolutely.
So I think, starting with the family, and I think we need to change as people. We need to teach our kids, man, cops aren't bad. Policemen are not bad. They're here to protect us, and the videos don't help. You know what I mean? The mainstream media, they're going to show you, you're not going to see the 99 cops who got off and bought a kid of chocolate milk that day in this country. But I promise you, if you see a cop get off and you know, do something out of the ordinary, that's just going to be on the news.
Right. You know, to kind of go off some of your comments here, you know, yes, there are going to be those asshole cops that are out there just to be dicks. They're out there. You know, this is a very human element driven profession. You know, it's not hard to become a cop. It's not hard to fool people during interviews and make people think you're going to be the best cop out there, and you end up being fucking a complete dick. You know, they're out there. They're just absolutely out there. You know, I implore the community, when you come across these individuals, do your part and complain. There's internal affairs for a reason. You know, there's investigations for a reason. You know, they want to know about these cops, and quite frankly, I want to know about them too, because I don't want to be attached to them. You know, I don't want to be grouped into this group of individuals that's going to end up getting me hurt because I wear the same uniform they do. You know, and when it comes to family values and how we're teaching people, you know, that I don't think that's going to stop. You know, I can't tell you how many houses I've been to where, you know, if you don't be quiet, the cops are going to take you to jail. Like, no, I'm not. Lady, stop saying that. You know, and it just, yeah, we're used as a disciplinary tool instead of anything else. You know, what we can also do better is be a little bit more approachable. You know, I know me personally, when I'm at work, I have a pretty bad resting bitch face. You know, and it's there for a reason, because you know, people.
I think we all have.
You know, people like to challenge me. People like to, you know, try to push my buttons, and so I'm just kind of at all times ready to be messed with. And unfortunately, I don't look like the most approachable person, but I can change that, and I need to change that. But, you know, more cops also need to realize that they need to be a little bit more approachable with the community also, and that will help kind of alleviate the popular opinion of us right now.
You know, that was brought up last night, and I know it in the debate it kind of got overpowered, of course, but I think that's something that's lacking, bro. What you said is the cops being out there in public. I follow a guy, man, and I've said it before in some of my shows. I follow a gentleman. His name is Officer Norman. He's from Arkansas, and his story is that he was a beat cop, right? And he worked a predominantly African American neighborhood in Little Rock or somewhere in Arkansas, and he made it a point that he didn't just drive by and, you know, scare people, and you know, he got to know people personally. He got to know their kids as kids. So now they're like second, third generation. They see Officer Norman, and they just like, you know, it's like, oh, it's just Officer Norman. You know what I mean? You get that, and he does. I don't know how you know. I guess every police department is going to be different, but he films his stuff, like, and people's. There's some people he visits daily that are mentally, you know, not completely there.
Yeah.
But he makes their day. Like, he sees them, and he's part of their community. People send them stuff to give to the people, and it's good. You know, I think that's lacking, bro. But at the same time, living in, like, say where I'm from. I'm from a small town in Beeville. I could tell you all the cops that I grew up with in Beeville. Some of them were my coaches. Some are still in the police force. Some are my friends. You know, they're like the assistant police chief, and one's a lieutenant detective. I have buddies of mine. One's watching right now, and John Mark. He's a detective out in West Texas, and you know, growing up in a small town, they were our coaches, bro. They like, yeah. We knew them personally. You know what I mean? They made it a point to not only beat the streets, but they were also there to mentor us. And, you know, as we got older and we got in trouble, well, okay, this cop's coming. He's going to snatch me up because I'm 15 and I'm drunk in the middle of the street. You know what? He's probably not going to take me to jail.
Yeah. He's
more than likely going to take me to my parents and be like, hey, I caught this asshole in the street drunk. You know what I mean? and leave it at that. When you move to the city, I would assume that it's different. You know what I mean? Because
you
you
lose the ability of interpersonal relationships like that because you're just too busy to have them. You know, smaller towns like when I grew in California where I grew up, you know, I played football, and most of my coaches were cops. You know, and which was cool because if we got in trouble for something, we have to answer it. We were more afraid of our coaches than we were, you know, our parents. And you know, and that was before, you know, the population blew up and, you know, these guys stopped coaching. But, you know, nowadays in bigger cities, you just, you know, SAPD, for instance, you know, these guys, all they do is answer call to call to call to call to call. They don't have time for these, you know, little relationships with people. They're just too busy. You know, smaller PDs, they have a better chance of doing that, and they try. But again, you know, depending on their workload, they may not have all the time in the world to not necessarily start a relationship with someone, but carry it on. You know, you get so busy, you know, wrapped up into your job and working 12-hour shifts. As soon as you know it, it's been a month and a half since you've seen this person, and whatever you've developed prior to that is gone now. And so, you know, it's hard to do these days. It's a lot harder to do these days.
I think there was one of the comments was like, it's out of my buddy Feliciano was like, it's out of fear. All may not be bad, but when you're put in a situation and you're innocent, it's hard to trust again. And I think I understand that. I'm sure you understand that.
Absolutely.
But my question to you would be, in a situation like that, do you guys get training, man? Do they sit you guys down and be like, look, man, right now we are not the people, you know, we are not the face of people that, you know, that people want to see right now. You know, people got a bad taste in their mouth. We got to do they do that? Do they give you all training, any kind of training like that, or, you know?
No. Some do, some may not. Where I work, we have not. I'm not saying they're not going to, but, you know, this far into the game where we're at right now, if they haven't, I probably don't bet that they would. And it needs to happen. You know, it definitely needs to happen. But now you're talking about budgetary issues. You're talking about officer availability, and it's sometimes trying to get us all in trainings like herding cats, and it can become an issue. It definitely can become an issue trying to get us trained all at the same time on topics such as this.
Yeah, that's you know, I think that we assume as civilians, that people are what's the word? People assume that you guys get all this training, and then I'm asking you now, and you're like, "No, we don't." So that's just that blows my mind, man. It really does.
Yeah.
It really.
And again, you know, we do, police officers do something, and I can speak for Texas. I'm not going to speak for everyone else. We do something called in-service. You know, a week out of the year or 2 weeks out of the year, we'll get all of our mandatory classes done, and that can, you know, be from human relations to anything else, and all the other mandatory classes that we do. And once we're done with that in-service training, we're back out onto the street, and we're not going to be in training again until the next year or the next year and a half or whatever the case is, you know. And it's not because they don't want to train us; it's availability, it's budgetary, it's a lot of that. You know, when you're in a department where your guys are working 12-hour shifts, and now you're talking about having to pay them more money to come in to sit through this training on their off time when they should be resting. You know, for instance, you know, I was on duty last night. I got off at 6 a.m. I have not been to sleep yet because I've had stuff to do. You know, now let's imagine if I had to go back to work tonight, that's over a 24-hour day. You know, so they don't want the liability of bringing people in on their off time when they've just gotten off a 12-hour shift to go sit through, you know, death by PowerPoint. You know, and it when the availability is there, it should happen. But for a lot of places that are lacking in manpower, it's not going to happen because they can't do it.
Got you. Hey, give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn one of these cameras off. See if it'll
Okay.
make sure. That it's,
Yeah, this one right in front of me. You can turn that one. I'm joking.
This is the one that we're using, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll fix it a little bit better. Sorry about that, guys. My internet is acting really, really crazy right now. So, so just bear with us. JJ did tie buckle. You ever heard of that?
One more time.
JJ did tie buckle. I'm gonna probably embarrass the hell out of myself and in front of my fellow Marines, but it stands for justice, judgment, decisiveness, integrity, tact, initiative. It's like every letter stands for something.
You sound like you go through some retraining. Hey, you devil dogs, and you get on this boy, man.
Oh man, but it really blows my mind that you say that, dude. That the training is not there. You know what I mean? Like in the military, one of the things that I always have a conversation with, especially like excessive use of force.
Yeah.
Right. I never understood if you have a taser, right? If you have a baton, if you have mace, why in the fuck do they gotta pull out a gun and shoot people?
You know, and that is a great, great question, and I have some answers people aren't going to agree with, but they are the answers that are there. Let's cover a taser. There are people who aren't affected by tasers. There's a lot of tasers aren't a perfect tool. Tasers aren't always reliable, and they are on the lower end of the reliability stat as far as effectiveness. There's a lot that goes behind tasing someone. There's two prongs that come out of a taser gun. If one of those prongs don't hit, you're not going to have an effective tasing. Or if this guy's wearing heavy clothes and those prongs hit the clothes, but they're not close enough to the skin to complete the circuit, it's not going to work. Or if you shoot someone with a taser, but you're too close and there's not enough spread, all you're doing is causing pain. You're not causing the incapacitating effect a taser was designed to have. And so, you know, in training, they talk about taser dependency. And what that means is pretty self-explanatory. You use your taser too much, and instead of utilizing any of the other tools or your own, you know, hand defense, you're using this tool that can fail. And they fail a lot. You don't hear about it in the news, but the tasers they fail a lot. And so, you know, people who are taser dependent and they use that taser and the shit don't work, their next reaction's the oh shit reaction. What do I do now? Oh, gun. And they pull a gun. Unfortunate. It happens. Baton. I've been a cop for almost 20 years. I've never batoned anyone in my life. And I really don't want to. It hurts, but it's not. It's more effective for breaking windows to get locked dogs out of cars than it is to subdue a bad guy. In my opinion. If you're hitting someone with a baton to get them under control, then you're already in a bad situation. You know, and you're either going to get yourself hurt by getting your baton taken from you, or you're going to hurt this person who doesn't necessarily realize you're getting hit by a baton. And in either case, it's going to be bad. Okay? Out of all the years I've been a police officer, I have never touched my baton in reference to hurting somebody or trying to control somebody or anything like that. Pepper spray. Very useful tool, extremely useful tool, until you get contaminated yourself. Then it becomes,
why the fuck did I use that?
Yeah, then it becomes, what the fuck was I thinking? Because now we're both on the fucking ground, can't breathe. Neither of us can fucking see. We're both swinging at the air. We have to fight through that now, because not only do we have to put this individual under control, we have to worry about him getting to the rest of our weapons that are on our gun belt, because we can't see what the hell he's doing. And we can't breathe either. And so with all of that, you know, with all those I'm smarter than this, I promise. With all those variables, with all those variables that can come into effect with these other tools, a lot of cops would say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna pull my gun." You know, and the theory is, if I'm in the position to where I have to use these other tools, then I should be able to use my gun as well. It's an unfortunate turn of events.
So, with you saying that, and you just said to the viewers, you know, lead you to using your gun. Why? And first, let me ask you this. I've always heard this. Cops will empty their clip because, what is it? There's no better witness than a dead witness. It's your word against somebody if they live, or it's your word against somebody who is dead. And more than likely, they're going to take your word over somebody who can't, speak because they're passed away. So my thing is my buddy asked, what is law enforcement's, do they have a SOP on escalation of force? And I'm sure you guys do.
Absolutely.
But my thing is, do you literally have to take somebody's freaking life because, they're not listening? I mean, how, and again, it's easier for me to say because I'm not doing it. Right. And this is what you do for a living. This is what you've been doing for many, many years. And I'm not going to say what you're doing is wrong, but my picture now, and I'm sure a lot of viewers would agree with me, is how hard is it to take a step back and shoot the son of a bitch in his leg, in his knee, right, and drop him there? Why go to the chest and 6 clean shots to mid range, straight in the heart and chest, and now they're dead?
Okay, great question. I'm gonna answer this as the best way I can. You don't take leg shots because the legs aren't gonna be the ones that hurt you. It's the hands. Okay, if I shoot you in the leg, can you still shoot me?
Yes.
If I shoot you in the leg, can you still hobble over to your wife and slit her throat? Yes, you can. When you're in a high adrenaline situation, even the bad guy who's being shot, his adrenaline's high. If I pop him in the leg, he can still run. Okay? If I'm taking leg shots, what if I miss his legs because they're doing this and I hit someone that was standing on the other side? That's why we're trained. If we're going to shoot somebody, it's center mass. Okay? And if you're in a position to where you need to shoot somebody, you're shooting them to stop an action. They're either hurting someone or they're going to hurt you. Okay? And that's how it is across the nation. You're shooting someone to stop the violence, to stop that action. Okay, a leg shot isn't going to stop someone from shooting somebody. A leg shot isn't going to stop someone from stabbing somebody. And that's just how we're trained. Now, 6 shots at medium range, that's a lot.
Excessive? I literally in my thought process, I was always thinking that a policeman, if he's going to pull out his weapon and use it, he is going to go until that thing clicks.
No, and it shouldn't be that way, and we're not taught to do that. And a lot of these guys, I'm not going to say I'm not even going to say that. There's a lot of trigger discipline that goes into shooting, and there's a lot of shooting discipline that goes into shooting. It sounds kind of redundant, but if you're in a situation and you need to shoot somebody, emptying your clip on someone isn't going to answer your question because you're not aiming at that point. Okay, if we're in a situation to where we need to shoot somebody, we need to be in a position to where we're going to shoot them, not hope we shoot them. We're not laying down cover fire in Vietnam. We're actually trying to hit somebody now. And if you're in a position to where you're emptying a magazine in hopes of shooting somebody, you probably shouldn't have been shooting at them. My opinion, again. Although there are situations where shit like that happens, and it does happen. Case in point, Hollywood shootout. Case in point, there's another big shooting here. Slipping my mind, but there has been instances where, yeah, you are emptying the clip because you need to stop what's happening immediately. But within our control, we're taking controlled shots, and that's going to be center mass to the chest. And if he doesn't stop, then it's one to the head.
What One of the questions here was, they said, "Hey, since you've said you've never used your baton on anyone, have you used your gun more than the baton?"
So in the almost 20 years I have done this, the closest I ever came to shooting someone was a 15-year-old boy back in 2006. That is the closest I ever came to shooting somebody, and that shit sticks with.
Need some tissue?
No. You know, that sticks with you. I almost killed a kid, and that's the closest I ever came to having to shoot somebody. There's been other instances, but that was the closest. And my baton is just basically a back scratcher that I carry on my belt most of the time, and that's basically what I use it for. But I don't draw my gun unless I absolutely need to. And when I draw my gun, it's nothing. That's something I don't take lightly, because at that point, shit is going south, and something bad is going to happen.
Do you? I mean, like right now on a normal beat? I'm sure everywhere it's going to be different. Do you guys always by yourself for the most part? Are you always by yourself, or do you have a partner with you?
I don't have a partner. A lot of police departments don't roll in doubles. We do have call partners. Call partners where, if you go to a call, he's going to come with you.
I got you.
We try to do that where I work a lot, just because of there's not a lot of us, but there's a lot of them being the community, and we try to back each other up as much as possible when we can.
I got two things for you. One is going to be the whole Breonna Taylor incident. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And another one was, before we talk Breonna Taylor, because that's probably going to get pretty deep. I saw one not too long ago. It was like outside of Atlanta or somewhere at a Wendy's. The gentleman was in his car. He was falling asleep in the drive-thru. Yeah. And the cop pulls up, and it's all on camera. I mean, the whole thing is on camera from start to finish. And he knocks on the thing, and the guy wakes up, and he comes to, and he's like, "Hey, man, what's going on? You all right? You're falling asleep here in the drive-thru." This and that. I'm just here. I got my kid's birthday party tomorrow or something. And long story short, the guy is super nice. The cop is like 100%. He is not a dick whatsoever. Like, I mean, it's what you would want a cop to do. And it really opened my eyes, because it was really during the time of after George Floyd, and it was, people were riled up, and cops there was a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And I saw this cop just be super nice, professional, everything he was supposed to do. Well, he calls for a partner, right? His partner shows up, and he goes and explains to the partner. And it looked like the partner was a senior guy. Yeah. It's like, "Hey, man, this is what I got." The guy was asleep. Smelled a little bit of alcohol. He was asleep here in the thing. He said he's got a birthday party for his child tomorrow, whatever. So that guy comes and talks to him. He's like, "Hey, man, you know what? You smell a little bit of alcohol. We're going to ask you to get out of the vehicle." And the dude was cool. Like, the dude was super cool. But the minute they told him, they started doing the breathalyzer and that they were going to arrest him, all shit broke loose. I don't know if you saw this, but so these two guys could not control. They could not control they couldn't control the situation. Yeah, it got out of hand really, really quick. And with that being said, the dude, just what you just said earlier, went for their side piece in the tussle, right? And people were mad because the dude got killed.
If I recall correctly, he was able to disarm one of the officers of their taser.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
And was actively pointing it at him as he was running away from them, which in turn the cop shot him. Yeah, that was a bad situation, period. But the alternative is that cop gets tased, gets his gun taken from him, and not only does that cop die, but his partner dies, or innocent people end up getting shot because this guy now has an officer's gun and access to the ammunition that's on that officer's belt, because that officer cannot control his limbs to stop him from taking his weapons and his ammunition. That was a hugely unfortunate event. Unfortunately, my opinion, yes, that is a justifiable shoot. Because the alternative is that.
But
cop
people were
gets
pissed.
yeah.
People were pissed, and
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you, when I first saw it, my first thought was, okay, the dude was running away. He was no longer tussling with them. He was actually running away when they shot him. Okay, and I didn't put it in the way I didn't grasp the whole situation. And me watching him, like, okay, the dude's running away already, bro. Why did you kill him? Why couldn't you just pull out the gun and shoot the dude shoot him in the leg, shoot him in the butt, shoot, why did you have to take his life? But if you really think about it, I mean, like you said, I mean, it could have been his partner's life, and not that. Okay, here's the thing: he didn't kill them in the tussle. With the grace of God, he didn't kill them, but he was running away. As a police, you still think that him running away is and I hate to put you on the spot like that, but it's justifiable to shoot the guy?
If I recall correctly, and if you guys remember this better than I do, as he was running away, he's got the taser oriented back at the cops.
You're right.
Okay, and depending on the cartridge they're using, there's different cartridges for tasers that shoot the prongs different distances. Okay, there's cartridges that will shoot those prongs over 20 feet away.
Gotcha.
Okay, so if this guy's only 10 feet away, he's still within range of nailing this cop with the taser. Now, let's say he shoots that taser at the cop. It doesn't tase the cop, but that one of those prongs goes into the cop's eye. Now he can't freaking see because he's got a freaking dart sticking out of his eyeball. And if anybody knows anything about eye injuries, wherever one eyeball is going, so is the other.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be an enormous amount of pain that's uncontrollable, and you're not going to be able to see. And so it's just an extremely unfortunate shooting. It sucks because it did not look good on us because this dude was running, but this dude was running and also pointing a weapon at us. This is just as deadly as this. It is. I'm sorry, man. It is what it is. Although it was just a taser, that taser could have incapacitated that cop and get that cop's gun taken from him.
Gotcha.
We have a duty to win fights. If we lose a fight, that can cost people their lives. Because let's take into account, it's not just the gun that we have on our freaking belt. It's the M16 we have in our trunk. It's the shotgun we have sitting between our seats. He now has access to all that.
True.
And because we have these weapons, we have hundreds of rounds of ammunition to accompany these weapons. And in some cases, like me, I have a call-out vest with magazines full of ammunition. You take me out, you just scored a little victory here.
You got a lot of ammo at your thing. I'm gonna John Mark. I'm gonna put this up here as a let's see. It's a pretty good comment, so I'm going to let everybody see it. Don't fight the police, period, bro.
Again, it goes back to what I said before. Comply in the street, contest in court. If you don't like something we're doing, there's going to be more than enough attorneys to take your case and drag us into court and make us look like fools. And you will probably win. If we're doing something wrong, take us to court. Please. You're going to win. And in this day and age, where
except a speeding ticket. You're not going to win.
You're not going to win a speeding ticket. You're not going to win a speeding ticket.
You're not going to win.
Not going to happen. In this day and age where everything is being recorded, I know for my agency, I have two cameras, one that's on my chest and the other one that's in my car. And anytime I'm contacting someone, they're both running. And so there's always going to be footage of what we're doing. The cameras that we have, the only power we have on these cameras is to stop them. Okay? Once we turn our lights on, both the body camera and my in-car camera, it starts recording. Okay?
And you can't stop it.
I can stop it by turning off lights and stopping the camera itself. Okay? But past that, I can't touch the footage. I can't delete it. I can't do anything with it. It's forensically locked up in the cloud somewhere, clouds. And the only person that has access to it is evidence and records. And I think our chief. We can't touch it. Once it's recorded, it's there. And if we're doing something wrong, you take us to court. By all means, because there's going to be footage of it.
Yeah, that's you know, I think what your mindset is going into anything, and I've had this conversation with fellow Marines and fellow service members, and thank you for your service as well. You also served in the military. I think our thought process, to me, sometimes I think that, like when we are going to go to Iraq or we're going to go to Afghanistan, we get all this training.
Yeah.
Right. We get all this training like, hey, you're going to this area. These are how the locals react there. This is what happens. This is what you're going to see a lot of. This is what we're seeing every day. But we're not in a foreign country, bro. We're in the United States of America. And I just sometimes, man, I really want to ask a police officer, like, dude, do they not teach y'all that? Like my thing is, like, when you're going into a situation, regardless of what it is, you're as a military guy, I'm taking everything from the second I pull up. I am boom right here. I'm looking. I'm absorbing everything that's going on. I'm trying to paint the picture before I even ask a question or do anything, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think sometimes when we watch these videos, we do, as human beings, put ourselves in the police position, but we scratch our head like, bro, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's easier said. It's easier for us to say, what were you thinking? You're not actually there. You don't know what you're pulling up to. And I get that. What I'm trying to say is, I think the military, honestly, man, does a better job of really stopping and focusing, teaching us, like, hey, when you pull up to a situation, this is what we're looking for. You're looking for this, and this, and this. Every situation is going to be different. Me personally, bro, I don't think the police do that. And if they do, they don't do it very well.
So, yes, we do something like that, and I'm gonna put it into a military term, and for those who understand this, cool, and I will try to explain it better for those who don't. When you deploy, okay, in the military, when you deploy somewhere, you learn about your region, you learn about different provinces, you learn about what's going on in this province, what's going on in that province, who's the leader of this province, who's the leader of that province, what issues do they have here, what issues do they have there, so you know how to approach the different areas, okay? It's the same thing for law enforcement. Let's take San Antonio, for example. I'm not SAPD, but I'm going to use San Antonio as an example of this. If you're patrolling far north San Antonio up in Stone Oak and all of that, are you going to patrol the same way as you would on South Military on the south side?
Definitely not.
No, you're not going to. It's not because you shouldn't. It's because the atmosphere is going to be a little bit more different, okay? And the training that we go through that would teach us something like that is our FTO, field training, and your FTOs are supposed to be training the new officers, okay, in this area of town, this is what we got going on. There's a lot of meth here, there's a lot of gangs here, a lot of prostitution. Be ready to deal with that when you get out of your car here. On this side of town, it's affluential, a lot of money here, a lot of people rolling Benzes, not a whole lot of problems. Just be careful with whatever the hell they're going to come up with in this side of town. That training does occur. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not enough for newer officers who have never been in the military or who have never experienced law enforcement in their lives. So they end up learning, trial by fire, how they're supposed to deal with different areas of town or different groups of the community. It needs to be done better in some cases. In some cases, they do it too much or whatever the case is. It's not a perfect science. Again, there's a lot of human element involved in our job, and that's part of the imperfect part of our human element.
A great comment here. It says, be proactive instead of reactive. And
we definitely try. We definitely try. What sucks about proactive versus reactive is strictly comes down to workload. if all you're doing is responding from call to call, you don't have a chance to be proactive. You know, when I open up my computer and I have 5 calls waiting in my district, you've just taken my ability to be proactive away. You know, now I got to handle this theft call. Now I got to handle this sexual assault call. Now I got to handle this petty ass theft call. Now I got to handle, you know, it takes my ability to be proactive out of the equation.
What's your thought process? And I haven't forgotten about the Breonna Taylor. People are just waiting for that. But my question to you would be, another question I would have for you would be, what goes through your mind, man, when, like, I try to put myself in your shoes. You pull over just a random car.
Yeah.
Car rolled through a stop sign, right? You pull over somebody, and I told you this in my conversation. You know, when I retired from the Marine Corps, I really thought about joining SAPD, and I think my son Jesse or it might have been Lana, one of them, they said, like, Dad, you did all those years in the Marine Corps, nothing happened to you, you know, and then you're gonna come out here and be a cop, and you're gonna pull over somebody who's having a bad day, and now we don't have a dad because somebody's having a bad day. So that really opened my eyes. Like, you know what? Yeah, I guess you're right. I'll find something else to do. I would really like to know, and I want you to explain to the viewers what goes through your head, bro, on a simple, because to me, all these videos I see, that's where they escalate from a simple traffic stop. I mean, it's not like you're pulling up and there's a gunfight going on. I mean, that's very rare. But I mean, what's not rare is you pulling somebody over for rolling through a stop sign or failure to signal or whatever the case may be. Right. So, can you tell the viewers, the minute you turn your lights on, and the car pulls over, does your heart pump?
You know, it's a heart pump would be a fair description. Your alertness is definitely elevated. You should be in this line of business. You should be ready to encounter something immediately. When I pull someone over, I make a lot of stops where I work. I make a lot of stops. So there's a lot of drugs that go in and out of my city. And so I make a lot of stops. When I walk up on a car, the first thing I'm looking for is everyone's hands. Like, I'm making it a point to find everyone's hands, because that's what's going to kill me, is your hands. You know, you're going to shoot me with your hands, you know, and so I'm looking for people's hands. If it's just the driver and the driver's got his hands in his lap, I'm like asking, hey, man, can you put your hands on the steering wheel for me? If he doesn't comply, I start getting a little bit more direct, because at the end of the day, I want to go home. You know, I got a Cowboys game to go watch, or I got a daughter's basketball game to go watch, or something like that. And I'm sure he wants to go home too. Just show me your hands so we can get this over with. You know, I'll tell you a story. Story time. I got called to a hospital in our area to do a health and welfare check on a man sitting in his car. Had a bad day, was in the ER, was feeling some pain throughout his body. He was an old vet. Okay. Had a bunch of rookies working this day. I was one of the more experienced guys working. Went to the hospital, found his car. He was sitting in it. I didn't park right behind him, and I was able to get in by his window without him noticing me. And I look in his window, and he was just sitting there. He's pondering life. He's having a bad night, whatever the case is. Okay, no big deal. I hit him with my flashlight. This guy's got a hand cannon sitting in his right hand. And the first thing he does is he points it at me. And so...
Are you drawn, or you just have the flashlight?
So I was already drawn, okay, because in a situation like this where you have someone that's not having a great day,
right,
and they're sitting outside the ER, they're not thinking very nice. Okay, so I was already drawn. It wasn't at him. It was down by my side, you know, just precautionary. Hit him with a flashlight. The stainless steel glow of this freaking bazooka in his hand shined right back at me. And as soon as I shit myself, I started running back to my car to grab some cover, because he brought it up over his shoulder. He was pointing it at me. So instead of sitting there getting ready to take this heat round, I went back to my car. As I'm scooting back, he went from here to here and took the top of his head off. You know, his windows were closed, no doors were open, and that was the loudest gunshot I've ever heard in my life. Knowing that instead of shooting him, he was going to try to shoot me. And so I scurry back to my car. I'm like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Like, I'm waiting for him to come out of this car. He comes out of this car with that gun. It's going to be a bad day for somebody. And again, I saw him shoot himself, but I'm still in my mind. I'm in combat mode now. I'm like, all right, guy, come on, come on. I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for this to go down now.
Right.
Okay, so my backup gets there. I got cops falling out of clouds and popping up out of sewers getting there. And when my partner says, Mike, he's done. He smoked, man. I'm like, all right, cool. We get into the car. He had 2 letters, one to his family saying, sorry, I couldn't take it anymore, and the other one to my department saying, sorry, I killed your cop. I couldn't take it anymore. I need you guys to shoot me. So he's going to try to commit suicide by cop.
So that's what he want. That's what he was trying to do.
So, and had I not been looking for his hands, I wouldn't have noticed this, and I wouldn't be here talking with you. You know, so as a cop, especially in the state of Texas where we're gun fans, you know, you have to look for their hands. You know, you have to look for hands. Speeding ticket, stop sign, felony traffic stop, pull up next to you at a red light. It doesn't matter. I'm looking to see where people's hands are. I can't relax. If I'm driving to Dairy Queen on duty to go grab myself a nice coffee or something, and I'm at a red light, and someone pulls up next to me, I will either scoot up or scoot back. I'm not sitting even with somebody. And it's not because I don't trust people. I don't trust people.
Do you find yourself doing that when you're not working?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because it's pretty easy to tell what I do. You know, I'm not very shy about what I do, you know? And so
I'm glad that you kind of painted a reality picture, and you brought something that people overlook too, that they don't really, you don't grasp this. But the gentleman next to me literally just said that, one, he almost got shot, and the same guy who almost shot him took his own life in front of him, took the whole top of his head off. You know, we see that in movies. You see the aftermath, you know. That's movies, man. This is real life, everyday stuff for these guys. And I know the military's been working hard on helping vets and helping people deal with these things. But dude, cops see this shit every single day. And it's not even the fact of you know, you saw that exact one where the guy did that, but you come up on scenes, you know, that could be really bad. Mm-hmm. That shit just doesn't go away, folks. Like that's what I want the public to understand. Like, those things these guys live with this stuff, and they find a way to get through it and continue to do their jobs every day. And I really hope that if you started tonight's episode with, like, you know, fuck the cops, you know what I mean? You know, they done me dirty every time. Put yourself in their shoes, man. That's all I'm asking. Put yourself in their shoes. That's kind of you know, what I really wanted to say tonight as well. Is like, yeah. I want to be in your shoes, bro. I want you to paint a picture so people can understand. Hey, this is what a police officer is going through, bro. They're married. They got wives, kids, just like you. You know what I mean? They want to come home. This is what they chose to do. They chose to protect and serve. Now we're letting people, you know, one bad apple ruin it for everybody, and it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
But I honestly, Mike, I really think that you guys do need more training on the situational awareness part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you said it earlier yourself. You said, hey man, I go to 6 months, I study some laws. Take a little pistol test and a little PT test. They give me my badge. They give me a gun and say, hey, brother, hit the streets. Go get it. You got to figure this shit out on your own. right? If a kid's like, lucky for you, you've been in the military, you've been deployed, so you kind of at least have a little warm and fuzzy. But think of a kid who goes right out of school, right out of college. It's never, the only thing he's ever been confronted with is maybe in a football game, or he's been in a fight somewhere or whatever. You've never been shot at, or you don't know what, you know what I mean? You've never been close to death in a sense. Right. So to the viewers, man, like take when we're ready to bash police officers, take that in consideration.
And one of the things I also ask for is when you see the news and the news is getting ready to report some bullshit that we've done, hold your opinion for a minute. And I ask this kindly. Hold your opinion for a minute. Wait for the facts to come out. One of the things the media is good at doing is reporting the story and not the truth. The truth isn't sexy. The story is. Okay? When you see some bullshit that comes up, well, look what happened in San Antonio with this police officer. Give it a couple days. Let the facts of that situation come out. It may not be what the media was initially trying to report. Pretty please.
I've learned that the hard way. And my wife reminds me all the time. She's like, "You sure you want to post that?" Just give it a couple of days and let it. I promise you we're getting to Miss Taylor, but the thing in Wisconsin, was it Wisconsin? Herosha was the name of the place, of the young 17-year-old with the with the gun.
Yeah, somewhere in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I got all sides. I got it. But man, the other day I actually saw the video that they had of before the altercation, during the altercation, after the altercation. Didn't agree with the ending of the altercation. The ending being this guy's walking towards the cops with the weapon, and the cops just tell him, "Get the hell out of the way, don't stop him." But damn well, I'm being honest, right? It's my show. If that would have been a Hispanic or a black kid, that kid would have been face ground on the goddamn ground.
Absolutely.
I mean, you said it for yourself. I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that would have happened. Now, people bashed this kid, and I saw the whole video. I mean, wrong. The kid shouldn't have been there. Okay. I mean, as a parent, I'm not going to let my 17-year-old out with a gun to guard somebody's freaking used car dealership. Like, I mean, are you going to let your 17-year-old? No. That's just not the world that we live in, and I wouldn't want my 17-year-old out there. No. I don't care how good he is with a gun and knows his way around guns. It just wouldn't do it. But when I saw the whole video, and I have good friends that they were upset, and I remember having a conversation, and I could see them like, "Man, you're really not understanding what happened here." I said, "Well, you have to be devil's advocate sometimes. Just like you said, you got to, even if it's not what you want the end story, that I think that's what's wrong with America. If it doesn't end the way we want it, fuck it, let's move on to something else." You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you watch the whole thing, again, you shouldn't have been there. But the dude was defending himself. I mean, literally, the dude was, he had been shot at. Literally, you could see the muzzle flash. Somebody shoots at him. There's people yelling at him. He doesn't know what to do. The guy comes, he shoots him. The other dude tries to hit him with the freaking, he does hit him in the back of the head with the skateboard, which could be a deadly weapon. I mean, you take a skateboard and you hit somebody in the back of the head, you could kill him. So you're right. I really think as human beings, as civilians, as good Americans, do that. Don't just jump right away and be like, "Fuck, cops fucked up again," right? Just give it a few days. Let all the footage come in. Let them grasp everything. And if it's not the end state you wanted, don't be upset about it, man. It is what it is. Like it is what it is. So
yeah, this kid in Wisconsin, man, like, I would love to meet his parents and be like, "Why the fuck did you think it was a good idea to let this fool roll down the street with a rifle? I don't let my kid go to Walmart after 9 o'clock. You're gonna let this fool walk down the street with a fucking rifle? Are you kidding
That's
me?
what I told my wife. I was like, bro, I barely sent Juanito to the 7-Eleven to buy us some
Yeah,
Dr.
like, fuck-
Peppers, bro, after
fuck
9
outta here.
o'clock.
Like,
More or less let him go out with a gun
I
somewhere.
can't trust this kid to wipe his ass correctly. We're gonna let him walk down the street with a freaking rifle? Come on, man. All right.
Okay, so I know my daughter's been waiting for this. So the whole Breonna Taylor thing.
Yeah.
I'll be quite honest with you. I've read article after article after article. They had the wrong house. They didn't have the wrong house. They were doing a warrant. It was a no knock warrant. It wasn't a no knock warrant. You know, whatever the case may be. She innocently got killed.
Yeah.
And this is, and I'm sure you as a human being taking the badge off, right? As a human being, you have to understand why people are pissed off at the cops for that shit.
Absolutely. And people should be pissed off. They should be pissed off. That lady should not be dead. She shouldn't be dead. I'm not real. I got to a certain point, Bumper, where I stopped watching the news. You know, I just got to a point to where I stopped watching the news because I got tired of hearing about my profession. You know, and this Breonna Taylor situation, this woman should be breathing right now. This woman should be with her family. This woman should be, you know, getting ready to watch Cowboys football on Sunday. But no, she's not. She should be alive. I don't know what the hell the warrant was for. I don't know.
Well, the warrant was for supposedly her boyfriend, who was the known drug dealer. You know, and
they shot into the house, correct?
Right. They did. It was a no knock. They came in and they shot into the house and they innocently killed her.
Yeah. No reason.
But the anger afterwards, bro. Nothing happens to these police officers. Is that the case all the time? No, it's not the case. But it's as a civilian, it's aggravating, man.
You know, it is extremely aggravating. It's extremely aggravating for us as well. You know, no-knock warrants are extremely effective in our profession, especially when you're going after someone that absolutely needs to go to jail. You know, a no-knock warrant, you catch them by surprise. You catch them while they're sleeping. You catch them while they're on the can. You catch them when they're least expecting you. Okay? They are extremely effective for us. Flip side of that coin, they are extremely dangerous and bad shit can happen. However, this should not have happened. I wasn't there. I'm not getting ready to armchair quarterback this police department. Me personally, I'm not comfortable shooting into a house not knowing what the hell's on the other side of that wall, door, garage, whatever the case is. Breonna Taylor could have easily been a child. What are you going to do now, police department? How are you feeling now, police officer?
Yeah, my wife just posted, she's like, the guy shot a warning shot and it hit one cop in the knee. Then the cops returned fire. People's anger is that the cops were charged for the shots that hit other apartments. They weren't charged for actually killing an innocent human being.
Here's the thing, and again,
and the original guy they were serving the warrant on was already in jail. Lack of communication.
That is not a very good job at intelligence gathering. Like, if the dude is already in jail, that should have been the first thing that should have been found out. Like, hey, where is this guy? Let me look him up. John Doe. Hey, he's in custody already. Round it up, boys. Job over. The fact that didn't happen, just for me, my opinion again, just kind of shows me how bad this operation was kind of set up. If you don't know the dude is sitting in jail already, and you go and fucking kill some people, like, you are completely 100% wrong. It's not. I can look up on this phone right here everyone I've ever arrested. I can tell you where they are right now, if they've been released, or if they're still sitting in jail, with my smartphone.
I mean, you can do it, and it's,
You can do it too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a public.
Anyone can do it.
It's a public. Public knowledge.
Why this wasn't done by somebody in charge of this mission at some point before they went over here? There's no excuse, man. This lady should be sitting with her family right now.
Yeah,
She should be watching this interview.
I think it's just one of those things, man, and then it just really hurts that nobody gets a charge for it.
The unfortunate thing is, I think this officer ended up getting indicted. I believe. I think I read something along those lines. But in a situation like this, there's an investigation that takes place. Okay, the speed of that investigation, kind of depending on who's doing it, can take some time. So it's not that nothing happened to this guy. It could be that it just took this investigation this long to determine what happened, because now you're dealing with, outside entities doing your investigation, and now you're talking to chiefs of police, you're talking to officers involved, you're talking to the person who actually shot or the person who got shot. There's a lot that goes into this, yeah. Because we need to be right when we make a decision on what we're going to do with this officer or the situation. So yeah, it took a long time, but a thorough investigation usually does.
I want to go to the George Floyd case.
Yeah.
And I've talked to my wife about this, and she kind of gave me the look like, that's fucked up. You shouldn't think that way. And it's not that I'm thinking any other way. I'm just being a Marine, and I'm being the devil's advocate, and I'm being a fly on the wall, and I'm looking at the whole situation.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at just one piece of it. I'm looking at everything that happened that led up to his death. His death was wrong, right? It was complete. I mean, where I lost respect for that officer was the fact. Okay, I get the knee on the neck was part of their procedure, right? It was part of their SOP. Okay, it was in their rule book, so to say. But for you to have your hand in your pocket when this guy is asking, telling you he can't breathe, me having my knee on your neck is going to be because I'm fear for my life. Like, I can't control you. This is the only way I can control you. Okay. But when I saw his hand in his pocket, that led me to believe that everything was under control. Like, dude, you were just doing it to do it right then and there. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So that's one thing. Then you had the cops that were just standing around and they didn't do shit. This guy was yelling, screaming for his life for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Right. And they didn't do shit about it. Being devil's advocate, you look at the whole thing. When it goes to court, and I've said this before in some other episodes, what's going to happen if this dude walks? How is the public going to react to this thing?
I can tell you what's going to happen. Minneapolis is going to turn into the lost city of Minneapolis. That's what's going to happen.
So that's one thing. So, but what I'm trying to get at is that when I started reading, those guys actually did what their rule book, and I keep saying rule book, but what their SOP, just trying to make it simple for people. What
training?
Their training.
Yeah. Everything
they did was legally in their book. It was in their police manual. They didn't do anything that wasn't in their police manual. So if the rules change now, okay, cool. That's what we want. But when he goes to court, legally, what did he do wrong?
So, rules, following the rules, yes, great. They followed the rules, but there's still a civil life. There's still a civil responsibility we have to take care of people. Okay, the knee in the neck for almost 9 minutes. The argument is, well, if he's screaming, he's breathing, right? That's an argument I've heard. Do I put my knee in people's necks? I have, but it's because I needed to control this individual. And once he was under control, I'd stop because I know that shit hurts. knee to the neck versus knee to the upper back, it's not that far away. It can help control the person the same way. My opinion, I can do it. I've done it. Why he had to just keep his knee in that dude's neck like that, I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer for him. I wouldn't have done that for 9 minutes. I would have done it initially to try to get this dude under control, because I recall seeing footage where this guy pushed his way out of the back seat of the car against the cops trying to put him in the back seat, and that's how he ended up on the deck in the first place. You know, and so getting him onto the ground. And
so you say that he fought himself out of the
Yes,
they didn't just take him out and sit him on the ground?
No. As they were putting him into the car, he used his legs to push his way back out. He forced his way back out of the car. Okay, that's how he ended up on the deck. Because instead of pushing his way out and then just standing him up, they tried to control the situation. They put him on the ground. Okay, and that's how he ended up there. Past that, the knee to the neck, I'm not understanding it completely and why it had to be for 9 minutes. I know initially if you're going to try to control him, I understand that. And if it's in your SOP, okay, I understand that. But you're still civilly liable for what you do. Even though it's in your SOP, if it causes someone to fucking die, you know, you're responsible for this.
You got people on here already like saying the autopsy came out and said he had overdose and like you can say that all you want. If that makes you feel better, my opinion, you can say that all you want. But let me tell you something. If he died of an overdose, what made you think that he died? You know, that he just if his knee would have never been in his neck, he would have just walked and overdose time. He's just gonna fall over and die. No.
So what I think people are trying to imply is excited delirium. Excited delirium usually occurs when someone's high on a narcotic or some drug, and they are forced to fight. And because they're high on this drug, whatever the case is, they no longer have the ability to control their output. And so let's use a engine for an example. You drive a new car, your car has a governor. It will not let you go as fast as that engine will do.
Right.
Okay, someone who's high on a drug, who's under excited delirium, they no longer have that governor. So their body is going to put out at 100% of the time until it can no longer do it. Okay? And I'm not a doctor. I didn't examine George Floyd. Sounds a little similar. Okay? He fought and was screaming and was doing what he can do for as long as he can do it until his body was no longer able to do it. You know, and that's excited delirium. Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
Again,
no. I get that, but that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, you know what I mean? When people say OD, I know most people think like, oh, this guy, he had just did a shot of heroin and he was just going to fall over any second now. And it just so happened that, you know, the knee on the neck, he died during that. But, I mean, all these things that are happening, bro, do you okay, so the George Floyd thing happens.
Yeah.
And we haven't said who you work for or anything like that, and it's out of being professional, you know. That happens. Do y'all go in? Is there an email? Is there the thing that we see in the movie before cops go out on a, you know, they're in different shifts. Your shift leader comes out and speaks to you. Hey, this was going on. You know, people are pissed off. We know this happened way up in wherever in Illinois or wherever it happened. Minnesota, and you know, we're down here in South Texas, but people are still pissed. Does that happen?
Yeah, you know, we were talked to. You know, we were talked to about the situation, and I can only speak for my agency. We don't teach anyone to put a knee to the neck. You know, we're very, and I hate to use this phrase, prisoner friendly. You know, if we handcuff you, we're not leaving you on the ground. We're going to try to do our best to keep you under control, but keep you in a position to where you're not going to be hurt. You know, if you're fighting too much to be in our back seat, we have a van. We'll bring a van out and we'll stick you in the back of the van, and you can kick that shit all the way to jail. You know, we have contingencies for people who like to fight, you know, and it doesn't necessarily involve hurting them. You know, our job is to take care of people, regardless if you're grandma down the street or George Floyd, who we just tried to arrest. It's our job to take care of you. You are in our custody now. You are no different from a child being in our custody. We have to take care of you. We can't just hurt you. We can't just kill you. We can't just neglect your well-being. And my agency is good for doing that. We will take care of people as much as we can, as long as they allow us to do it.
You know, and I think if you've never been put in a situation, and I'm going to fall back to being a Marine, when you deal with bad people, the same bad people, over and over and over again, you know, hey, your son was planting an IED, he's planting a bomb. No, he wasn't. My son, he's a baker. He works at the bakery and bakes bread. Ma'am, we just seen your son planting an IED on the side of the road. No, I promise you, he goes to work every day. He's a baker. He would never do that. But you deal with the same lies, the same people every day. As a human being, you build up an immunity in a sense to where I think we put up, and I'm speaking on you know, from what I've witnessed and what I've seen, you know, you pull up to the situation again and again, we're doing our situational awareness, boom, 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 boom. And you really don't even give a shit what they have to say. Because in my mind, like, bro, you're a freaking bad guy. I don't want to hear your shit. Boom, you're getting arrested. We're going to put you in jail. They're going to do a background check on you, blah, 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 blah. So what I'm trying to say is, as a police officer, every day you guys get put in a situation where you're dealing with shitty people.
Yeah.
Not always, but the majority of the time. If you're called, you're going to be dealing with shitty people. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come from, is because I think cops build up that, and I've been on the other end of it. I know what they feel, you know, in a sense, but ours is for months at a time. You guys is for as long as you've been working, you know what I mean? Day in and day out. So do you think, how do you think on the other side of that? How do you get across that wall and be like, look, man, I know what I think. Do you do that? Do you take a deep breath and like, you know, I know this I know he's dealing drugs. I've dealt with him before. He's gonna say no, he's not. Blah 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 blah. But you want to still give him the benefit of the doubt.
It's too easy, man. It's called making a decision. You choose how you want to treat people. If you want to treat someone like an asshole, you're going to treat them like an asshole. If you want to treat someone with some dignity and fucking respect and treat them like they're a human being, then that's what you're going to do. And that's what you should do. No one's history should determine their future. They make their own future. They make their own decisions, just like I make my own future, make my own decisions. If he was selling drugs last week, that was last week. If he just got robbed today and got his car taken, he is now a victim and should be respected and treated like a victim.
That's great, dude. That, you know, for you to say that.
One of the things I pride myself on doing is treating people like human fucking beings. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what color my uniform is or how fast my Tahoe goes. I put my pants on one leg at a time like everyone else on this planet. I bleed red like everyone else on this planet. My life can end just as easily as anyone else on this planet. I have a duty to treat people the way they deserve to be treated. People are human beings. People deserve to be cared for. It doesn't matter what they've done in their past. One of my best friends is a gangbanger. Dude's got fucking blood tats up and down his damn body. But he made a conscious decision to get out of that life and try to do something better, and I love him for it. He is going to be treated the way he deserves to be treated. And it's like a grown-ass man who made a grown-ass man decision. his past, he didn't let his past determine his future. And everyone has that power. But it's called making a decision, making a choice. You make that choice. No one can make that for you.
I'm glad that you said that, and that's you, and I'm sure people who are watching, you could hear it in his voice, you could hear the passion in his voice, but you know, in big cities, man, I mean, it just if every cop was to think like you, bro, I think we wouldn't even be having these kind of conversations. But in all honesty, you know, people get they build up a wall, you know what I mean? And to me, that's what I see sometimes. I just see that the cops come into the situation and the wall's already there. The personia's already there. I don't give a shit if I saw the chick stab the dude. I know that dude. He probably did something to deserve that, you know. And you just told me that it doesn't matter if you arrested the dude for beating up 2 chicks the week before. You saw the chick stab him, so you know what I mean. You got to take a side.
Again, man. You make a choice on how you treat people. You know, I'm a huge believer in karma. The energy you put out is the energy you're going to get back. If you're going to treat people like an asshole, don't be fucking surprised when it comes back your way. You know, and it's absolutely relevant in my profession. You know, people recognize me. I'm 6'3", I'm 270 fucking pounds. I'm one of 2 black people in my department. I am easy to fucking find. I don't hide well in my fucking peers. Okay? And so if I'm gonna treat people like a complete dick, they're going to know who I am. You know? And you make a choice, man. You make a choice. And that's what that's basically what it comes down to with everyone involved in an altercation with the police is a choice. You can make a choice to resist me and what happens, or you can make a choice to shut the fuck up, get your attorney, take this ticket, and go home. You make a choice. If you're going to let popular opinion steer your compass of morality, you're going to have a problem. You know, but if you listen to what mom and dad taught you, if you were so lucky to have both of them in your house, and they told you to behave, listen to what they got to say, and do the right thing, you're not going to have a problem with me or my partners. You know, everything starts with a choice, man. You make the choice to do what you're going to do. You know, what's missing after that choice is the accountability. And I think that's a lot of what's missing right now. Instead of holding the people accountable for actions, we're pointing fingers instead of holding people accountable. Okay, let's hold the police accountable for what we're doing. I understand that 100%, as you should hold the police accountable for what we do. We also need to hold accountable the people we're coming in contact with. We just didn't miracle our asses to your house to serve a warrant. We just didn't pop up in your driver's side window.
Just driving like any, mini, miny, mo.
Yeah, we're not drawing straws on your house. We just didn't show the fuck up in your driver's side window asking you for your license. You did something to catch our attention. And if we have a legal right to be there, you have a legal responsibility to comply with our instructions.
Gotcha.
You know, but again, it starts with a choice. What choice are you going to make for yourself? You know, and whatever choice you make, you need to be willing to hold yourself accountable for the results of your choice.
Yeah. I mean, and kind of in the same sense of what we're talking about, you know, another one of my pet peeves is like people, if say for George Floyd, right? Just you know, we were talking on him. The minute, you know, he was brought to attention, and you know, we all thought it was wrong. We knew it was wrong. The whole his whole death, but right away it's like he held a gun to a pregnant chick. He has been arrested for this, been arrested for that. It don't freaking matter. Mm-mm. It doesn't matter. The dude was walking a free man. He was walking a free man. it doesn't give anybody the. I don't care if the dude now. It's easy for me to say that, right? You can, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it. Treating somebody who molested somebody or something like that, and you see, a dad caught some guy molesting his daughter, and he goes around and kills him with a shovel, and he walks away free. People are gonna be okay with that. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, well, the guy deserved it, right? But when you say, the guy died, and he was just a bad guy. What it doesn't. Who cares? At that point in time, the dude died innocently. You know what I mean? Was he doing? Was the cops called for something he did wrong? Yes, maybe, whatever. But the fact, like you just said, he should have went home, or he should have spent some time in jail and figured it out, got a lawyer, blah blah. But now the guy's dead, right? And you cause this whole country to go in a ruckus for it. This guy says, break the law, own up to it. That's hard to do as a person. It's true, all right? I mean,
it's like, and I'm not trying to compare criminals to kids or nothing like that. But, you catch your kid in the refrigerator at 10 o'clock grabbing some fruit snacks. What the hell are you doing? Nothing. You ain't trying to get in trouble, and that's most people. Like, they don't want to. You're doing 95 and a 60. Just shut up and give me your license, man. Don't argue with me.
What? My speedometer wasn't working, bro. What are you talking about?
I got to use the bathroom. My dog's dying.
Hey, does that work, dude? No. Let me tell you, that's something popular right now. I see a meme like, "Hey, I was getting pulled over for speeding." And my daughter's in the back like, Mom, I gotta go. And the cop's like, oh, okay, that's why you're speeding. But the whole time the kid's in on it too.
And I've had situations like that, and because I'm a parent and I've had that happen for real, and hey, none of y'all better try this shit because I'm gonna change my mind. But if there's a kid back there who's having an issue, I'm like, hey, get out of here, man. Go handle that. I ain't trying to get in all that. When people get caught doing something they ain't supposed to be doing, the first thing is, hey, man, I wasn't me, or I'm sorry, or, there's 100 excuses that they pull out of a hat, And
we all do it. I think it's human nature. It's human nature.
I'm married. I do it all the damn time, all right? Like, hey, did you do this? No. Where my kids at? We all do it. It is what it is.
I promised that I would ask this. My buddy was supposed to call in, but I think nobody's called in. Everybody's embarrassed to put their voice on the thing. I was hoping somebody would call in, but we haven't touched on it.
Yeah,
and
go for it, whatever it is.
It's what the rest of America, I think, except Texas, think it's legal. It's becoming more and more legal in states, and it's still.
Are we talking about marijuana?
What? Well, it's still illegal in the state of Texas. It is still illegal in the state of Texas. So I have a lot of friends, a lot of family members who it's part of their life. You know what I mean? Yeah. I grew up around it. Some of my young uncles, they did this on it's part of life. I mean, a lot of
I'm pretty sure you and I have had a similar upbringing.
It's common practice.
It's yeah, dude. My mom to this day is the biggest pothead that I've ever met in my life. Okay, and she can tell you every freaking version of every freaking bud plant. It is ridiculous. My thing is with marijuana, I'm not the weed police, bro. There's worse shit out there. If you're not rolling around with like an El Chapo size load in your car, I don't give two shits. Okay,
my friend wants to know what is considered an El Chapo size load.
And that's a. Let's look. I ain't giving no damn numbers. Look, if you have a lot of weed, man, stay your ass home. Don't risk it. What I'm saying is, you got a couple joints, You got a little gram baggie. We don't give a shit. We really don't. We'll give you a little ticket for drug paraphernalia and we'll send you down the street. Okay, now if you're rolling through and you got grams or ounces, you're gonna have a problem. Until it's legalized, it's illegal. And in the state of Texas, 0 to 2 ounces is a Class B misdemeanor, which means you go to jail. Okay,
You do go to jail?
0 to 2 ounces, you go to jail.
Well, what's 2 ounces? Like a joint?
No, so little baggies that people like to have, those are usually a gram. An ounce is 28 grams. So 28 of those little baggies is an ounce.
So if you had 15 of those baggies, you're not going to jail?
No, if you have from 0 to 2 ounces, it's a Class B misdemeanor, which means you go to jail.
Oh, you go to jail. Okay.
You go to jail. Okay. Now, what we're doing because of how relaxed things have been getting with the marijuana laws is if we catch you with some personal use amount, we'll scratch you a ticket for drug paraphernalia and send you on your way. We'll scratch you a ticket for drug paraphernalia in lieu of possession of marijuana, which means we have to arrest you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're pretty much giving you a ticket for having a pipe instead of having the weed.
That's crazy.
Okay, and then we'll send you down the street. Again, this is all stay cool with us, we stay cool with you kind of a thing.
So if you have papers, is that paraphernalia?
No. Papers and pipes have to be accompanied by the substance you're smoking. Because I can go buy some papers and nicotine and make a homemade cigarette, or I can grab a pipe and nicotine and smoke my nicotine like that. You have to have the accompanying substance with it.
Got you.
For it to be drug paraphernalia.
Is driving? Could they get ticketed or arrested for driving? I mean, if they're like just super stoned and driving.
Yeah. There's tests for it.
Wow, I've that's something you never hear of. You never hear somebody say, "Oh, I got pulled over, bro, and I was high, and they arrested me because I didn't have it. I already had smoked it all, but I was high as shit, and they arrested me." I never hear that.
There's tests for that for when you get pulled over. We can find that out.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's. Hey, Hector, call in, bro. You're brave enough. Rod, if you're watching, he's calling from New York. You got my phone number, dude. Call my phone number and we'll ask away, dude. That'd be cool. No, I wanted to bring that up because it's such a common. Hey, Rod, can you hear me? Rod. Oh, there he is. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm calling it right now. You're kind of on the lag on my side. So.
Okay. Hey, turn down your Facebook all the way, your volume all the way down, because if not, it's gonna echo like a mug. Can you hear Mike?
Yeah, I got him.
I got it. Yeah.
So this is my buddy. He was a Marine. He was one of my Marines.
Okay.
Great guy. He's Puerto Rican,
right
like you, and he's from.
That's why I'm calling, man. I just wanted to give some props out there.
Hey, we have Puerto Ricans in Texas, bro. You didn't know that, or what?
There ain't a lot of us, but we're out here.
Few and far in between, so I figured I'd give my boy a shout out. Yeah.
Hey, Hector, do you have any questions that maybe you've always wondered, or know?
Yeah. I mean, and that's one of the things, man. So and I'm glad that this came up. Like I always told you before, just to give you some props too. It's not always about it's not always about the funny stuff. It's about the serious stuff, and especially now in the times that we live in, a lot of people are they're kind of how do you say, they're kind of nervous to be around cops and stuff, man. And like the last comment I said, if you want to stay alive, just comply and stuff. But one of the things that always got to me was this whole unconscious bias stuff, and I get it, because it's and this is one thing, a lot of people, I might get in trouble for saying this on the air, but, a lot of people, when I try to explain this to a lot of people, it's that's why people rather buy, the cute dog versus the ugly dog. So what I'm trying to put out there is that do you find yourself, or do you make a conscious decision to actually, take a step back when it comes to unconscious bias, knowing that, listen, instead of me and you know I'm blunt. So if I offend anybody, I don't care. You know, you can put me on a hashtag, you know, Hector offense. I don't care. You know, it's free country. You know, we all fall for it. Let's make it happen, right? But like, do you make it a conscious decision to like take a step back and assess the situation, or do you like train people to do that? Like, you know, because it's easier to pull someone who's, again, you know, it's easier to pull someone over who's ugly and give them a ticket versus someone who's, you know, who's not as ugly and give them a ticket, you know, or in other words, like right now we know like the statistic shows that in urban neighborhoods, you know, a lot of black people are getting arrested and Latinos are getting arrested. Therefore, it would be easier for you to arrest or pull over a black or Latino person because of the fact that the color of the skin associates them with a certain crime or the fact that there's a probability of them committing a crime.
Right.
So is that something that the police force is now training on, you know, to stop that from happening?
You know,
or is that like what are the next steps from here so like that when you do make arrests, they're actually sound arrests and not based on unconscious bias?
you know, and
That's like the question I have.
you know, a great question, man. Great question, and thank you for calling in. That comes with a lot of maturity. You know, that comes with maturity in doing this job, and being a minority and doing a job that has to deal with minorities. You know, I'm not necessarily unconsciously biased because I was once them. You know, as far as not being a police officer and having to deal with the cops, and so I don't really, for me specifically, I don't have the. I'm not going to say privilege, but I don't have the issue with having control and unconscious bias, if that makes sense. I grew up in Los Angeles. All my family is either black or Puerto Rican, and I'm absolutely used to being around black and Puerto Rican people because that's what I grew up with. And so when I come across black or Hispanic or whatever the case is, my first thought isn't, hey, what the hell is he doing? Because that's not how I was raised. I can speak for myself on that. Now, as far as other officers and, you know, how they were brought up and how they view dealing with minorities, yeah, you do have to kind of train that because, you know, for instance, I have someone who we just hired from a little white kid from freaking, I think, Louisiana or some shit like that. And, you know, he hasn't had a bunch of experience in dealing with minorities on the law enforcement side of the fence. And it was very obvious he was scared the first few encounters he had with black people. And it's not because of anything other than his infamiliarity with dealing with that race. You know, all he knew was what he saw on TV or what he heard from, you know, Facebook attorneys and all of that. And so we had I'm not going to say a skewed opinion, but he had a lack of experience. And so, you know, veteran minority officers, you know, where I work, and I'm only one of two black people, but we try to help other people out in dealing with the different races. Does that make sense at all? Am I making sense?
No, and no, I was actually going to you know, because it's really how do you say, it's really eye opening to understand that from my point of view, because if I may, and I know you know, I'm not trying to go too far in depth here or go off tangent, but you know, that makes perfect sense because where I work, I'm not going to disclose where I work only because it's for professional reasons. But
Cool.
you know, we had you know, unbiased, conscious discussion and privileged discussion, and like one of our bosses, you know, one of the head departments, he's a white guy, and you know, he stood quiet the whole way. And it's funny because like, you know, these people were talking about how like, you know, as a black person, you know, they have to, you know, they're being taught, and I'm sure, you know, being Puerto Rican, you would know this too, even being Latino, period, you know, you would know this too, that, you know, it was ingrained in us that we had to work twice as hard than the white man just to get recognized or just to even be at the same level, you know?
It's that case for me now, man. Like, that hasn't changed.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, you know, in other words, you know, in other words, this you know, we're ingrained to do this. So when it comes to dealing with the police and stuff, you know, we have to be at our best behavior because we're afraid that something might come across. Well, might come across with the cops or something, right? So going back to it, this, and I think that again, I think these are conversations that we have to have because after the whole meeting was done, the big boss man, the white guy, didn't say anything. After, they asked him if he had any comments, and the guy actually said, I had no idea that black kids, Latino kids were taught this. I had no idea that I actually wake up knowing that the color of my skin does not affect me. Mm-hmm. So and it's funny, and that's why I wanted to ask you that question because granted, in this realm, we don't have to worry so much about getting in trouble with the law, but it's very similar because, just by the color of our skin, we are always on edge. Well, I could tell you, no matter whether I wear a suit or jeans, from walking outside, I always give respect to cops, but I know, and this sucks because, it's always in the back of my head, like, oh, this guy he's got me, he's scoping me out. I might fit the description because I was pulled up to the side before because I fit the description of somebody. And good thing, thank goodness for the United States Marine Corps. I had an ID card that was a get out of jail free card, and it was like, oh no, you're good. So they weren't looking for a Marine.
To this day, man, when I go home to California, dude, like if I'm not flying a flag that says, "Hey, I'm a cop," I get fucked with. I listen to my music loud, I drive fast, and I catch people's attention. And where my family is in California, like these cops are hyper aggressive and always looking for shit. And so there is usually a traffic stop or two I'm involved in my trips home because I'm meeting a description or I'm somewhere where they don't think I should be or wherever the case is. And so when I get stopped, I don't tell people I'm a cop right away because I want to see how they treat me. And so when they get to fucking with me, because some cops are assholes, like I said before, they will do stupid shit. And then it's found out that I'm a cop because they run my information. Like, oh man, I'm so sorry, and this, that, and that. I was like, no, dude, like, why couldn't you just be cool when you first contacted me, man? Like, why you over
true?
Me? Like,
no,
I just robbed a fucking bank, man.
That's definitely true. Rod, I appreciate you calling in, dude. Having the guts. You're the first. You broke you broke it in, bro. This is the first Wacky Wednesday of so many an actual virtual call in, and I appreciate you calling all the way from New York. Thank you for always tuning in, and thank you for always giving me those great comments, man. Of keep this up and keep doing it. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, just to let you know, I always think you're doing the Lord's work out here because you're actually, we're bringing in those tough conversations, man. And this is what we need to have to bring people together. No matter what political views we have or whatever, we need to have these discussions because this is the only way we're going to unify our community.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that. And hey, thanks a lot, man. And I appreciate your service too, and appreciate you answering my question. Thank you for your time, both of you.
All right, Rod. Thanks, brother.
Bye. Bye.
So there it was, man. You did it right there, Mike. We broke the Wacky Wednesday there. We had somebody call in. Hey, before we start wrapping it up, there was another good question, and this is more on the justice system, and he recognizes that, but he just wants your opinion as a police officer. He just said, where do we go here? Man, I lost you. Hold on. Oh, yeah, there you go. My question is about our justice system. Why do you think they're harder on drug dealers than they are child molesters? If we can't even take care of our youth, then what the hell?
Man, and that's an amazing question. That is pay grades above me, but I will give you my opinion. And it's a very fucked opinion because I'm not very educated on what's been happening with drug dealers versus child molesters. I don't know why, and that's the God's honest truth. I don't know why. I don't know why we're so focused on. Okay, I do know why we're focused on going after drug dealers because it's what they do, but why child molesters take a back seat to that, I don't know. I think in the grand, scheme of things, I would want to put a child molester away before I put someone selling some marijuana. That's my opinion because that kid he's raping is going to grow up fucked up, and that's someone we're all going to have to deal with down the line And that's not going to be a pleasant experience for anyone, to include that child growing up having to live through that. I have a friend of mine whose daughter was raped by her husband, not her father, but her mom's new husband, and was raped several times over the course of 3 or 4 years. And the damage those incidences caused can never be repaired. They will never. Her body will always be fine.
Yeah, but they'll live with it forever.
You know, mentally, those scars will never, ever go away. You know, and this fucking guy walks free because he had the money to defend himself. And I hate that. I hate it. And it shouldn't be that way. And I wish I had a better answer for why that occurs. I don't like it, just like everyone else doesn't like it. You know, in a perfect world, they'd be somewhere not very pleasant. And
I mean, I think the majority of Americans feel that way. I think child trafficking or human trafficking in general has I mean, it's really come to light the last few years, and it's been going on for forever and a day. Hold on, we got another. Hey, you there?
Hey, what's up, Bumper?
What's going on, Benny? Welcome to the show, man. This is my friend Benny Puente. He's a mayor of my hometown.
how you doing, Mayor?
And he called in, man. Anything you want to say, Benny? Any comment? Any question?
Man, Bumper, I can relate to your friend there. I just tuned in because I was with my mom tonight. You know, she had her knee surgery, so
God bless you. Man.
I'm late to the show, but just catching the end of it. I was listening to the gentleman speak about, how he kind of gets profiled sometimes, wrong place, wrong time, nice vehicle, whatever it might be. But I can relate, man. I'm sleeved out. I got tattoos on both arms. I like to drive fast too. Nice trucks, vehicles, and I've been pulled over and messed with too, and I can relate. But little do they know, what we do. Your friend there's a law enforcement officer. I came up through the ranks all the way to the United States Marshal Service, and so I made it. I made it to the top, and if it wasn't for that badge that I had, that gun on my hip, I'd have been messed with even more. But it is unfortunate, man. Working in the prison system too, bro. You deal with a lot of that. You become institutionalized somewhat as an officer in there,
Yeah.
and you see a lot of bad. So
That's kind of what I was saying earlier, man. That it's real quick. If you deal with it every day, it's real easy to throw up a wall and attack every situation with that wall because you deal with it every day. So
yes, sir. It's a tough world out there. But I do want to tell your friend, I didn't catch his name, but I back the blue, man, and I always defend the police first. I don't care what the situation is. And I know there's some messed up stuff that has happened, but I'm a firm believer, Bumper, as my brother, man. I'm a firm believer, and I think you know this, that reform, they talk about police reform. That's about maybe 10% of it. The other 90% of the reform, it starts at home with the parents. And that's where it needs to start. And that's where the majority of the reform needs to occur, is with the parents teaching their kids how to act with law enforcement officers and teaching them not to be scared of them. It don't matter what neighborhood you're in, man. The bad cops. There's a
yeah,
few of them out there. But reform, how you hear it in the news all the time, it starts with the parents. It starts at home. Very, very little reform needs to occur in the actual police department, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. The majority of it needs to start at home. But God bless your friend. I think he, just for him wearing the badge, Bumper, that's a tremendous a deal. There's nobody wants to be a cop anymore. I mean, across the country,
yeah,
there's a
you're right.
shortage. Nobody wants to be a police officer no more because of the way they get treated, and it's not right. And I'll always back them first, always.
I mean,
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Well, Ben, thank you for calling in, bro. You're the second dude. We're definitely going to do it again. And thank you for tuning in always, bro. Even if it's just for a little bit, I appreciate it. And we'll be praying for your mom, bro.
Keep up the good work, Bumper. This is great that you're doing this, bro.
All right, man. You have a good night, brother.
God bless y'all.
You too. But so we're kind of at the thing. I mean, we could probably go hours on hours of asking questions, man. One question before, because I saw it and he watches all the time. He says, "Is extra safety taken when busting people with certain drugs like weed opposed to like meth?" Like, you know, the guy.
Absolutely. The last time I checked, people don't inject weed with needles, you know, and right now fentanyl is a huge deal. People, I don't know how the hell they're getting a hold of this, but it is deadly, and it doesn't take very much to kill you. And it is definitely an issue. So
It's injected, or how is it taken?
damn, I don't even know, bro. I don't know how the hell these people.
If anybody's watching and you're familiar with fentanyl, how is it taken? Is it injected? Is it a pill? What the hell?
Hey, freebie, man.
Enlighten
you take
us.
this shit, tell me how you're taking it, so I know what I'm looking for, so I don't hurt myself. But you know, meth users with needles, meth, heroin. You know, the needle thing is always scary.
Right.
You know, I've arrested people who had uncapped needles, had blood in the freaking syringe still. You know, it's scary, man. It is absolutely scary.
And you're right. You said it earlier, like, you know, being on drugs and talking to somebody, it's got to be. I mean, no matter what it doesn't. It's like talking to a wall. Like,
nothing you're saying is going to make sense to them, and absolutely nothing they say is going to make sense to you. You know, so you're just like, well, shit, okay, let's just go to jail, man. Just shut up.
And I see them like, you know, I see it all the time. And it's, who was I speaking to? I'm not going to say who I was speaking to, but they live in a not where we live, you know, kind of maybe out in the country-ish a little bit. And they're like, man, we saw our first person on drugs, like at the store. And for them, it was kind of like, it was, you know, something, like, wow, this it's coming into our neighborhood. But you see it on TV, dude, and it's like, it's one of those things where you know, you see it on TV, but to actually see somebody who, you know, who is there's a mosca right here, he's freaking bothering the hell out of us. When you pull up on somebody, dude, that's high on drugs, I mean, what do you do, dude? What's your protocol for that?
Man, you know, it's protocol versus what do you actually want to get into right then and there. You know, seeing someone that's high on a drug, like, you know, if you arrest this person, it's going to be a fight. You know, if you go to deal with this person, you're probably going to get stuck by something. Mm-hmm. And so if they're not hurting anybody, if they're just rolling down the street acting stupid, talking to themselves, please get to wherever the hell you're going, because if someone calls in on you, I'm going to have to come and deal with you. You know?
Yeah,
please get
definitely.
to where you're going. Go be high somewhere else. Go away. You know, that's one part of the equation. The next part is if we actually get called on this person and we have to go deal with them, it is what it is, man. Like, you have to deal with them.
I think homelessness is something that's huge in this area.
It sucks, man. It's right around where we live. There's homeless camps, dude, and it just sucks because these people have nowhere else to go, and they're completely landlocked by the freeways and everything else around us here. You know.
I mean, I can drive, and then all of a sudden, like, God damn, where the hell did this dude just come from, bro?
Like, out of nowhere.
And then I go to Google Maps and kind of look over it, and you could see it, just like he says, like little camps, man. Like, you know, people out in the field, like in the Marine Corps, just living in tents and, you know, living how they can live, man. But Mike, I wanna thank you, bro. I want to thank you for giving me your evening, and you know, I hope you got some sleep today. People on here just constantly, you know, you're in their prayers. You know, they thank you for what you do. I really believe that police officers, in my heart, they do what they do. They don't do it for the money. You can't.
No, man,
There's no freaking way you could do this job for the money. You have to do it for the love and for the love of your community and taking care of people.
And I'll ask your viewers, man, if you want to make us feel good, just walk up, tell us thank you, and shake our hands. We may act like we're not bothered by it, or we'll just be, oh, hey, cool, man, thank you. But in our hearts, it makes us feel good. Okay, we are hated. We're the number one most hated profession in America right now. And to have someone walk up and tell us thank you, it means a lot to us. It does mean a lot to us. Don't let the machismo persona fool you. It makes a difference. And that's what we live for. You know, when we signed up to do this job to help our communities. So sometimes it's nice to have our community tell us thank you for what we do.
No, definitely.
Because usually when we're dealing with somebody, it's not their best day. So that's all, man. And I appreciate you inviting me to the show, man. If your viewers ever want me back on here, if you want me back on here, you got me.
I think I am, man. I think I'm gonna put together a panel. I've done a panel before I had all this cool equipment, and it's gotten way better from when I first started. Mm-hmm. And I think you'd be awesome on a panel. I know some people that their thoughts aren't like mine, and it's okay. Right. Like, I mean, they're still my friends. Maybe they've come in contact with the law a lot more than I have, and they've kind of built up. And I think it would be cool for the audience to kind of see an interaction of where they're coming from and kind of what your reaction is to them. So I'll work on doing something like that. But man, thank you, dude. Honestly, man, thank you for giving me your time. I know it's 2 hours. You could be doing something else, watching your LA Laker. Are you a Laker fan?
Hell no, man.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. But the Laker game is on, and we could be watching that. But you came over here, dude, and you actually opened my eyes to many things, and I think people got something out of it. You know what I mean? Just if anything, kind of a mindset of what a police officer is thinking and why he does the things he does. Thank you, man. I really do. I really appreciate you coming on to the show this evening. To the viewers, thank you guys for tuning in week and week out. It's always something different. I know the show's called Wacky Wednesday, and sometimes people watch for the first time. They're like, dude, I didn't find anything wacky on anything you talked about. Everything was pretty serious. But, I've been shocked with a dog collar on the show. I've, seen dudes get whipped with a belt. We've had some fun. So just keep tuning in, man. You never know what we're going to get. I got a bunch of stuff in line coming. Some stuff that's very what's going on in the world today. That's what I kind of like to. I like to keep it relevant. Right. And you're very relevant in what your profession. And you're right. About people hating police officers, and I really wanted to bring that to people's attention. Like, let's not do that. Let's be better Americans and better people. And again, like he said, come up and shake a police officer's hand. You don't know how far that goes. And if you ever had something bad encounter with the police, man, they're not all the same, bro. And don't hold every cop to that standard, because they're not all the same. They're not. And I mean, if you think that, you're a freaking idiot. You know what I'm saying? You're just not good. But before I hang, this weekend, man, some good friends of ours, our friend Leia, she's having a fundraiser. So if you're in San Antonio and you're hungry on October 3rd, is that Saturday?
That is Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. And you're in the San Antonio area, go by St. Paul. It's going to be there at the St. Paul Pastoral House at 326 John Adams Drive. If you forget the video's on here, just fast forward to the end. You'll see the little card that I got put up. But they're going to be $10 plates, hamburgers, sausage wrap, chips, and a cookie, and they'll have drinks for $1, and it's for a good cause. With that being said, just come out and just get a plate, man. It's for a good cause. Again, Leia Strong fundraiser. It's going to be near the Babcock, St. Cloud area, St. Paul Parish. If you know where St. Paul Church is, the pastoral house is right next to there. Come out, and they're going to be there from 11 to 3 serving plates. Again, $10, hamburgers, sausage wrap, chips, and a cookie. It's for a good cause. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much. If it was your first time tuning in, Mike had you tune into my Facebook. Send me a friend request. I accept most of them, I think. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, please, man. Go look up Bumper Gomez on YouTube. If you haven't done it, you hear me say it all the time, do it. It takes you 30 seconds, man.
Please help this man out. He's got 5 subscribers on his YouTube.
There you go, man.
It's hurting. Help him out a little bit.
I got more than 5. But go on YouTube and look up Bumper Gomez. Find my channel, like, subscribe, share it. Share the crap out of these videos, man. It's just for people it's just a different view on things, man. And I like doing it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for another great Wacky Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. Y'all have a great, great evening. And, well, adios. It's time for me to say good night. And they call me Mr. 305 for the next couple of weeks. Go Miami Heat. I hope you whip the Lakers' ass.
All right.
But again, Bumpers Wacky Wednesday. We're out.